Podcast City Network. You're listening to The Betrayal Show.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Brad Chandler Show. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Brad Chandler Show. And also make sure to check out my new website. That's www.bradchandlershow.com. We got some cool stuff up on there. Some bands that I've had in the past, some bands that I haven't had a chance to actually get on the show yet. There is some music from the guest that I have on today, his band We Are Nothing, and also we have some recording. I have a recording of our band that we were in, Bound by Betrayal, as well on that website. So go check it out. That's bradchandlershow.com. And with me today, my guest, he's no one special. What's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. Just nursing this hangover.
Yeah, dude, you came in and you're like, oh, dude, I drank way too much last night. It seems to be like a common thing with you, you know. I remember when we were in a band together, you'd just be like, oh. It seemed like you got a little bit better with that though as time went on.
I kind of I won't say I stopped drinking, but I don't really drink like that much at all anymore. So I still, when I do go out and drink, I still feel like I can go have 100 beers and like 25 shots and I'll be fine. And like, no.
Yeah, you're how old now?
39.
Yeah, dude, 39 years old, man. Your body's probably telling you, I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out, man. Enough with like the 30 beers a night.
All the drugs that I've done in my past and all that stuff is really starting to like show that it happened now that I'm old, you know?
Yeah, I've come to realization that I can't do the same shit that I was doing back, like, I'm 37, so like we want to go back to like I'm 17 years old, like going into pits and stuff. Like,
oh, man.
I remember one of the last pits that I went into was a Hatebreed show. I usually go into a Hatebreed pit for one song and one song only, and the song is 1 minute and 39 seconds long. And at the end of that 1 minute and 39 seconds long, I'm outside going, shoot me. Like I'm dying, dude. And so,
yeah,
but
I can't. Younger Adam was all about the mosh pits, and I'd be in there the whole entire show. Now I just look at it and I'm like, I don't think my old ass knees and ankles can handle that anymore.
For real, dude. I like the first time I ever went crowd surfing, I was scared because I was just like, oh, someone's gonna like hit me in the dick or some shit like that. And I've always been afraid of something like that, or like my wallet's gonna fall out, or someone's gonna break my glasses. Now it's like my fat ass doesn't want to break somebody. I'm fucking like 240 pounds, man. I don't want to fall on some like poor girl that's like 16 years old because these other assholes can't hold me up.
Working at the Webster for so long, I saw like dudes like 300 pounders trying to like put me up, and it's like, no.
Actually, so we're gonna start off by like talking about how we met, man. So you remember how we met, right? Obviously the Webster, but
yeah, I don't remember the exact like specifically.
So you were doing the sound and the underground, I believe, with Cassandra.
I did sound in the underground with like everybody. They told me when I was an apprentice, they told me to come once a month, and I just came every day. And it was just like,
I remember I ran into you. You had the two Misfits tattoos. I'm not sure if you had the two Misfits tattoos at that time. But I remember running into you. You had the Misfits tattoo. At that time, I smoked. So, like, I'd run into you. There was a guy named Chester that used to work there. And I used to get into like every fucking show at the Webster for free. And him and Brooke, they used to let, all their friends fucking in, And I'd go to every show at the Webster Underground and the theater and whatnot. And I ran into you. Saw that you had the Misfits tattoo. I was like, dude, another person who likes the Misfits. I got to talk to this guy. You're a fucking weirdo.
That statement may never have been made.
I'm sorry.
As in a truer statement may never have been made.
Yeah, dude,
Definitely.
you're definitely one of those fucking guys that is a little weird. And you know what? In all honesty, I wouldn't trade knowing you for anything because you're one of those people that keep it fucking real, and you try to make sure like you'll give your point of view like across. You'll get your point of view across no matter what. You know, if it's gonna hurt someone's fucking feeling, fuck you. You know, I'm gonna say it. You know,
not so much like I'm like going out to hurt people's feelings because that's never my intent. But I will call out bullshit always. You know that,
right? Right, exactly. So I remember, shit. We met at the Webster. Then I think Sarah was in charge.
Yeah.
And then Sarah left, and I believe you ended up becoming the person in charge for security. And then all fucking hell broke loose.
Well,
like
after Sarah left,
shit.
my brother was in charge for a while, and then
Who was?
his car. My brother, Greg.
Yep. Oh yeah, it was that was right. Greg was in charge first.
Yeah, it was shit. I think, as a matter of fact, I think it was Hatebreed playing that night, and my brother's car got broken into, and like all the bosses were like, "Yeah, so what?" And my brother was like, "Well, fuck you, then I quit." And they're like, "Well, you're the boss now at a fucking sold out Hatebreed show." I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like, great.
I think like everybody during those times had worked for the Webster at some point. I know that I worked for the Webster. I believe I worked 2 shows. I know one show in particular I was working. It was Switchfoot was playing. I don't know if you remember that band or whatever. I was the back alleyway where the bands went backstage and shit. And the vocalist for Switchfoot ended up coming in. It didn't have his pass on him, so I told him he couldn't come in.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And I got so much shit from the vocalist. He's like, "I'm the fucking vocalist." He had the harmonica on and shit. And Sarah comes over and she's like, "Well, what's going on?" This is after like 10 minutes of him and I arguing back and forth about why he can't get backstage. And then Sarah comes over and is like, "Well, what's going on?" And I told her, I'm like, "Well, he says he's the vocalist. I don't know this. He doesn't have a pass." You know, and she's like, "You don't have a pass?" And he goes, "I don't have my pass on me." And she's like, "Well, you can't get in." And then his fucking, like, one of the, like, the agents or whatever comes fucking running out and is like, "How many times have I fucking told you you got to keep your goddamn pass?" You know, they're doing their damn job. And then I got fucking called out of the show because the show ran late. And it was fucking hilarious. That was actually the last show I worked, though.
There was
I had so many memories at that place.
Dude, oh my god, there's so many memories. You remember that? You know that band Live?
Yes.
They were like real big in the 90s. They played at the Webster when I was working there. I had hired my brother back, and he was working under me. And we were going around like to the what you call it, the downstairs, the dressing rooms.
Yep.
And there's 3 guys in the dressing rooms, and we're all like, "Guys, you can't be in here. You got to get the fuck out of here." And they're like, "What do you mean we got to get out of here?" We're like, "Dude, this is for the bands." And they're like, "We are the band." And it totally was. Who do you recognize from Live other than that bald guy? You know what I mean?
Right. And no, I got you. I think one of the coolest things that I ever got to be a part of was with our buddy Richie. Big, huge fucking Black Label Society fan, huge Pantera fan. Damage Plan was playing. Yeah. It was 4 days before Dime ended up getting shot. And actually, this was a time where Pat was there, you know, too. So Richie comes up to me. He's like, "What are you doing right now?" I'm like, "I'm enjoying my time, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "Well, fuck you." He rips his fucking backstage pass off. He doesn't throw it. He like slaps me in the chest. He's like, "We're going backstage right now." I'm like, "What the fuck?" So we go backstage. Shadows Fall just got done playing. And we go backstage and we're hanging out with Shadows Fall. And then we've got was it Rob Zilla? I think his name was the bassist of Damage Plan. Whatever. We had Rob Zilla and Pat Lockman. Me and some kid were downstairs in the backstage, and Pat Lockman was punching holes in this wall. And then he like walks away, and this kid and I are fucking like kicking holes in the wall and whatnot. So like by the time when Pat started, there was like a hole like this big, right? Pat Lockman comes back and he's like, "Well, what the fuck are you guys doing?" And we're like, "Well, we're fucking this wall up." And he goes, He's like, you don't have to pay for this shit. And then he fucking just like puts his entire fucking left foot through the wall. And he's like, and neither do I. By the time we were done, you could just walk into the other room. It was fucking crazy. But the coolest thing, the coolest fucking thing about that show, the coolest thing about that fucking show was I was sitting there talking to one of the guys from Shadows Fall, and all of a sudden I hear clank, 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 and I hear this fucking hick. I hear a hick come out. He's like, everybody! And then he just starts shoving fucking beers into people's chests, and I turn around and I look. It's fucking Dimebag, like shoving beers into people's fucking chests. And you know me, I don't like beer. And so Dime fucking turns around, and he's got 2 beers left, and he fucking punches me in the chest, and he's like, you need a beer. And I'm like, yes. And I fucking open that beer. I've never drank a beer quicker in my life. Fucking incredible.
Well, I mean, like if I'm back a beer or like stole into a beer, fucking drink that shit. It's like there was one time where I was working a Motorhead show there. I go downstairs to just check out, if everybody's supposed to be down there. It's literally just in the dressing room by himself. He's pouring a Jack and Coke. He looks over to me and goes, I think you need this. It just hands me a Jack and Coke, and I'm like, I fucking hate Jack Daniels, but Lemmy just handed me. I have to drink it.
Right. Let me hand you a fucking Lemmy. You're drinking that Lemmy.
Also, probably the loudest show I've ever been to.
I saw a Motorhead show.
Sure. I remember there was a double meter at that show, and it was.
I went to a Motorhead show where they ended up beating the shit out of a roadie because he fucked up the tuning on one of the instruments. Fucking crazy, dude. And you go to a Motorhead show, it's not like your normal like heavy metal show. You're gonna see a shit ton of bikers there.
Well, yeah, it's like kind of like a Black Label Society show where it's just like there's metalhead dudes or whatever, and then there's just a fucking shitload of people with fucking cuts on.
Right, exactly. So let's get into like some of the shit that you've been through as a musician yourself. One of the first bands that I actually heard that you were in was Gun Down in Glory. What are some other bands that you have been in? You're breaking up.
God, dude. My first real band, it was called X and Ferris, and it was like a thrash punk, political, and fucking a lot of people didn't like that. But I was in We Are Nothing. I was in Fallout.
Oh God.
Dark Tomorrow, whatever that was called. I was in My Last Moment. Revolution Killed Everyone. I was in The Aberration. I was in Bound by Betrayal, as you know. I was in a band called Tomorrow Will Fall. I was in Price to Pay. I've been in every band. I'm like fucking Squizgar from Metalocalypse.
Yeah. Before Bound by Betrayal, I played with you one other time. I don't know if you remember that. Right. You came up on stage and played with a Dark Tomorrow, and I think I don't remember if you did the vocals or if it was bass, or both. It could have been both, honestly. But it was the first time I had actually played the actual main stage.
Yeah. I think that actually was the first time I ever played the main stage. And I just guested on one song. We did Capacity, I think, right?
Yeah, it was Capacity. It was definitely Capacity. And I remember when we were going through, we ended up doing the whole, we were getting Bound by Betrayal together after that whole bullshit with Douche Nugget there. We were debating on who we were going to end up having in the band. Now, everybody was like, we're going to keep you as the bassist. And I was just like, you know what? Why don't we try and give me a shot at vocals? And in all honesty, dude, after doing vocals for Bound by Betrayal, I have a lot more respect, not only for vocalists, but lyricists. And coming up with lyrics to a song is not nearly as easy as a lot of people make it seem. And after like doing some research and shit, it's like you got bands like Cannibal Corpse that are out there and Slayer. like most of their songs were written by like their guitarists or bassists and shit like that, and I'm just like, well, why? And as you know, I ended up I had some trouble.
That's weird.
Yeah, and as you know, I had a little bit of trouble, especially with one of our songs, and I didn't actually write the lyrics until I didn't finish the lyrics until the day we actually went and recorded it. But it was fucking a lot harder than I anticipated, and then trying to be a frontman as well. I've come to the realization I'm not a frontman.
Why'd you say that?
Well, if you go back and listen to like watch any of our shows, it's like I don't have the ability to like pump up a crowd. I don't have the ability to like talk to people the way like I think I can. There's other people that could do it a lot better. Playing an instrument, playing guitar, playing bass. You know, I can go around and be stupid, crazy, and whatnot, and not have to worry about a lot, except for like, you know, playing the instrument basically. But when it comes to being the vocalist, you have to say stuff that entertain the crowd. You got to say shit to keep the crowd going, and you have to say shit at a certain point to make sure that the band is on point basically. You know, it's like, hey, this next song, blah blah blah, you know, instead of just being like, this next song is kill your demons, you know, or this next song is called
I hate it when shit.
Yeah, it's
so much, dude. Like I want to know what the fucking song is.
Right, exactly, because if I like this song and you guys have a recording of it and I can listen to it on like say Spotify or whatever, or if I want to go buy that song or whatever, what fucking song am I buying? Hey, you're kind of cutting in and out.
I've always hated that, the whole fucking like it's like, okay, great. Now I have no idea what the fuck who this is, what you just said, what the song is called. I don't know. But I mean, you know me, I'm not like a huge metal guy anyways. Like I'm always in metal bands, but like I don't really listen to metal that much. Sometimes. But not often.
I actually got into a band that you're really into, and it was because of you. Coheed, I ended up actually getting into a lot recently, and I've been listening to them a lot more. Like they're on my playlist on Spotify, so you know, much appreciated. I still can't stand his vocals, but the music is fucking great.
And not only that, but dude, he's such an amazing lyricist, Claudio Sanchez, man. Like, his lyrics are so goddamn good.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
Like, I always get like that feeling of like, damn it, I wrote this. I wrote this, you know. I wish I came up with that phrase, you know, like I don't know, fucking pull the trigger and the nightmare stops. Like that's so good. I love those guys so much. They're definitely one of my favorite bands. Like, funny thing about those guys, when I was in X and Ferris, I was on the site called Book Your Own Fucking Life. It's like, am I breaking up here?
Yeah, you're breaking up a lot.
Am I coming through?
Are you on Wi-Fi?
That's a crappy ass old phone, man. I don't have a. Yeah. I am on Wi-Fi.
You are on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've been breaking up quite a bit. But it is what it is. We'll try and work around it. You know, we've run into other situations where I ended up actually kicking the power out of my computer in the middle of an interview, and that was fucking hilarious. But so
really?
Yeah, that was during Paul Luup Spinker Knips or whatever he wants to go by from Left Hand Backwards. It was actually funny because I kicked the power out. He didn't even realize it, and he just kept going. What was that?
I work. Well, not together, but we work at the same place.
Oh, you guys work together, or at the same place?
Yeah, not. Yeah, we work in different buildings for the same company. But when they were taking me through for like the initial walkthrough, I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, I asked the guy that was walking us through. I was like, "Is that dude Paul?" And he's like, "Yeah, you know Paul." I'm like, "Yeah, I know fucking Paul." And then as we were walking by, Paul saw me and he was like, "What the fuck?" I just thought it was so weird. So I didn't know he worked there.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird because he went through. He used to work at like some paper mill or whatever up in Massachusetts. Then he moved down to Connecticut. He started working somewhere else, and then he moved back to Palmer, and whatever. So, throughout your musical, I don't know, journey, let's say, what ended up getting you into the music that you currently listen to? Not even currently, but what got you into the music that you got inspired by, to like start creating?
Well, when I was little, I was a huge Motley Crue fan, and I thought Nikki Sixx was like the coolest shit in the world. And then I really liked that. And then my brother started getting into like thrash metal, my older brother, and so I started listening to that shit, and I loved Anthrax and that type of stuff. But then when I first heard Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids, like the old shit, it was Daisy Berkowitz's guitar playing that I was like, holy shit, like I want to do that. A whole bunch of my friends already played guitar and were way better at me, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get a bass. That's how I became a bass.
Yeah, but you don't only just play bass. I mean, you play.
So I loved the drums.
Yeah.
That was my fun.
Yeah, I was just about to say you play drums as well. Same with guitars. You also do vocals.
I mean, I play keyboards. I kind of can play the cello. I've been getting pretty good at that fucking little xylophone thing that I have too. Basically,
Yeah.
if it makes noise, I can probably make all right noise. You know,
Right.
certain shit I can't.
That's actually really funny you say that. It's funny you say that because when people ask me like, "Oh, what instrument do you play?" I'm like, "Oh, I play guitar." They're like, "Oh, you're a guitarist," and I'm like, "Not really. Like, I know how to make decent sounds out of it. You know, it's not like you're not going to put fucking music sheet in front of me and I'm going to be able to start playing it. You're not going to be able to tell me, hey, play a D chord." And I learned on tabs. I don't know anything fucking else. I learned how to play a Guitar Pro and learn tabs. I never learned how to read music, never learned what chords I'm playing and shit like that. I just learned how to play a song and I just kept going from there.
I hate tablature so much. It just confuses the hell out of me. And so like I don't know, man. Yeah. Like I was actually just saying this to my girlfriend the other day. Like I don't ever know of a band's music that I'm in. When we were on by Betrayal, you couldn't like be like, all right, Adam, play. You can't escape player. I'd have no idea what to do. But as soon as everybody else is playing it, then I remember all the parts.
Right.
It's like when we did the We Are Nothing reunion, like I walked in there, like I have no idea what the fuck is going to happen here. I don't know any of the songs. And then we started playing them. I was like, oh, I guess I do know all the songs.
I remember that reunion. I was down in that douchebag's basement with you guys, and we, watch you guys play was just fucking incredible because you guys had that vibe with you, like the sound and like all three of you, Dustin, Pat, and you're like, oh, I don't remember the songs. And then like Pat was like, I don't remember the songs, but luckily Dustin remembered some of the songs. And then like once he started playing, you guys were like, oh yeah. And then it was like muscle memory. And you guys literally just took it as it was muscle memory.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it was. Like honestly, like certain songs, it was like, I don't remember the first riff, and then Dustin would just be like, "Digga digga baga digga digga bat." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah." And really, Dustin was like the saving grace for that whole thing because me and Pat were both like, "I don't know."
It was
a great
fucking
band, though.
funny.
We had really cool music, I think.
Yeah, you definitely did it. And one of the songs that I was actually like, I'm a big fan of is the Boogeyman song, and the way that you did your vocals for the recording, and we'll actually listen to that at the end of this episode. The way that you did your vocals on that, and you recorded your laughs and all that stuff over it, I think that made the song so much better. And then when you guys like, it was like basically like the breakdown, kind of like you, everybody will hear it when it comes. Like you guys all stop, and then it's like and then you're like, it's sleepy time. That part, like the little chimes or whatever it was, I thought was pretty cool. So that was like a concept album, wasn't it?
Just like we were in the studio. Yeah, it was like, I don't know, like most of my favorite bands do concept albums: Coheed and Cambria, Pink Floyd, Marilyn Manson. And so I was like, why don't we try doing that? And then I had this huge 3-album idea. I mean, granted, we only ended up recording 1 album, which was actually supposed to be the final part of the concept, was the first album. So like we're introducing you to the end, basically. And it was about this dude who basically hated everything so much and just went crazy, and he wanted to kill everybody, but he couldn't kill everybody, so he kills himself.
What's his name? No One
I was on
Special?
a lot of drugs when I wrote those fucking... No, his name was Suicide Man.
Jesus Christ.
That's what
he actually...
But yeah, that was... I was on a lot of drugs when we wrote that album, and that was some pretty dark times, and so it was...
You know,
whole
in all honesty,
so I remember those guys. The whole album was going to be about suicide, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, I could definitely see Dustin and Pat going, "Wait, what's going on?" So it was, I didn't actually listen to anything by We Are Nothing for like the longest time because, as you know, Pat and I ended up having our little. Our childish beef or whatever it was because of past bullshit. And I was just like, I'm never listening to a fucking thing this guy does ever. And I honestly I didn't listen to anything from you guys until you guys were doing that reunion show.
Really?
Yeah. Never listened to you guys until you guys did that reunion show. And it was... Pat and I had problems with each other since 2008, and that reunion show was probably like 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we didn't squash our beef, actually.
Which one, though?
Well, the first one, the one where you guys like practiced down in Douchebag's basement.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I didn't hear you guys until then.
Yeah, I missed that band, dude. Fucking, it kind of imploded, and I think it was mostly my fault. But yeah, that band made really cool music, man. I don't know, I felt like I booked too many shows with that band, though. We played all the time, and I think we just, like...
Burned yourselves out?
In too many places, you know what I mean? And I feel like we just like, yeah, and we kind of like overrated it. So
you're oversaturated.
Or Saturday or Sunday or next week they're playing here again, and yeah, that was totally my fault. I just wanted to play shows all the time,
Yeah, no, definitely. But, like we ended up learning that
all the time. It was.
That was one of the things that we talked about when we were in Bound by Betrayal, is like we didn't want to play shows on a regular basis like every week because we didn't want, because Dustin, Pat, yourself, you guys all learned that lesson from when you were in We Are Nothing, and Tanner and myself, we were like, okay, we'll ride whatever you guys are riding here, and if that's the way that you guys want to go. And I think like a really cool thing that we actually did is like you guys had your like We Are Nothing reunion show. I think it was for Bacon Fest or something like that. I don't remember which festival it was. And then Bound by Betrayal actually got to play 2 songs, I think 2 or 3 songs. Like we did a fucking sound check, and the sound check actually it ended up being like an entire song.
Yeah.
Well, we did Ship Sailed Sunk, so that
in
song
every
was
band
like
I met
30
of-
seconds long, anyways.
Yeah, that was like a minute and 16 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, it's like super
I
short.
like short songs though, like
No, it's
that, man.
I that song was funny as fuck because me writing that when I wrote the lyrics to that, it didn't have anything to do with who it actually ended up having to be about, which was absolutely fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was sitting in my car listening to the song.
When you write lyrics, you write like.
When I write lyrics, I write like, and then you cut out.
Oh well, it was you write them too when you were writing lyrics.
So
like, listen to the music and then write lyrics.
So
on
when
it,
I wrote
like
Easy Pass was just supposed to be a poem for Richie. That was it. And I remember one day I was listening to the actual song on my phone and like a recording that I did live at one of our practices. And I'm like sitting there listening to it and I'm humming to the lyrics, like humming my vocal patterns and whatnot. And I was just like, hold on a second. And then like I pulled out my phone and I had the poem in there and I was like, I can do this. I can do that. If I change this up and whatnot, I was like, holy shit, this fits this song real cool. But that was the only song I actually sat there and I had the lyrics written before the music was completed. But everything else, like For What, I remember you and I sitting in my apartment writing those lyrics, and that one we wrote, I want to say like an hour. We finished it. It didn't take us that long to do. Nightmares Past ended up being one of those songs that was like, I just went on a fucking like, what'd you say?
I don't really write lyrics that way usually, and that was like a cool experience to like sit down and write lyrics with somebody. I just have a shitload of poems that I've tried to just put those on top of things, like you were saying with Easy Pass. That's usually how I write. So like sitting down with somebody else and like listening to the song and writing lyrics that way was a really interesting experience.
Yeah. I remember one of the first things I had posted on my Facebook after it was not announced, but we agreed that I was going to be the vocalist, is I tried reaching out to people, vocalists of bands and lyricists and whatnot. And I was like, what is the one way, like, how do you write your lyrics? Like, do you write your lyrics before the music? Is it a poem first or something that you just happen to jot down and then you try to put it to the music? Or do you wait for the music, you come up with the harmony and you come up with the vocal patterns? Like, there are so many people out there that do it differently than the other person. So me, when I was younger, I used to do the whole, like, I would write it, like I had friends that used to tell me like, hey, write something about your mom being a bitch. And I would sit there and in like 25 minutes, I'd have an entire like thing down about how my mom was a bitch, and stuff like that. And as I got older, I lost that. Like it wasn't easy for me to go ahead and write that stuff. So I like commend lyricists and whatnot after the experience for being with Bound by Betrayal and being the vocalist, because I now know how hard it actually was. And like the hardest song for me was "You Can't Avoid Hellfire," and like I said, that was the song that I wrote. I finished writing the lyrics to that song the day I went in to go record it. And if you actually end up listening,
that was one of our best songs.
It was a good song. Musically, I thought it was good. The vocals on it, and I'm not saying like you or me. I just didn't like the patterns that it went with. And if you listen to that according to like the rest of the songs, it really didn't match. And you could tell that I fucked up in the song. There's a part in the song where Simon, who he ended up like cutting it and then moving what I said because I said it like too soon, and
Studio
like
magic.
I know it was moved. I don't know if any like if you listen to it, do you know it was moved? But
I don't know. Probably not.
in all honesty, out of all those songs, like I was actually talking to somebody. I was talking to somebody about it earlier this morning. I was like, I think the songs that probably have the most meaning to me out of all 7 of those tracks is Nightmares Past and Easy Pass. We all know why Easy Pass is one of my favorites, and Nightmares Past ended up being one of my favorites because it's a personal story. So after Bound by Betrayal ended up breaking up, you know, I shouldn't say break up. We ended up going our separate ways. You ended up joining the Aberration. I had Travis on. He was actually my first guest of this show, and I know the Aberration is no longer together as well. And I just found out that the hardcore band, I'm not sure what the name of that band was. You're no longer in that band as well. Are you doing anything musically right now?
Oh. Yeah, actually, God, that I'm working on. Some dudes up from Vermont. We're hoping to make a pretty big release of everything, and when we start playing shows, we want to already have like merch and a CD recorded and everything, and maybe a couple videos or something, so that we can really be like, here we have that. I don't like the idea of the slow build up. You know what I mean? The like,
right.
We got stuff coming down the pipe. If we wait for it, I'd rather just blend and then just be like, boom, here it is. But it's been a long time since I've been in a band that I really loved the music that we're making as much as shit that's going on in this band.
Yeah, if you don't have the passion, if you're not passionate really about what's being played,
every song has.
This is getting really tough because I don't know if there's a delay between you and me or
break.
I don't know if there's a delay between us because every time I go to talk, you're not talking. And then all of a sudden I start talking, you start saying something, and I'm just like, fuck, let me not do this anymore. And you are breaking up a lot. I'll make sure to send you the audio so that you can hear it to see how awful it fucking sounds. But you know, I'm sure we'll end up catching up in the future, especially with your new project and whatnot. We're coming down to the wire of the end of the episode here, and you know, with the fact that we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, I'm going to end the show with a song by your former band, "We Are Nothing." And what was the name of the song? According to the Boogeymen, children are delicious. Yep. So we're going to listen to "We Are Nothing's" song. According to the Boogeyman, children are ridiculous, are delicious, and you can hit me up anytime. If anybody out there wants to come on the show, definitely hit me up on Twitter. It's twitter.com/Brad Chandler Show. And also make sure to check out the website. It's www.bradchandlershow.com. And thanks, everyone.